Hello, I'm Michael Mayer from VocalWisdom.com, and this is another Lamperti lesson. The topic of this lesson is something that in the book Vocal Wisdom, that I am a big proponent of, many places in that book is it mentioned the concept of being on the lips, whether it's speaking on the lips, pronouncing on the lips, feeling the tickle of tone on the lips. Also, there's a mention of other places in the head, in the back, in the throat, the pharynx, the mask. These are all mentioned everywhere, and the point of it is that these are talking about the result of the vocalization, and what we can read. Lamperti had said was that these are illusions, sensory illusions that we can feel, but they only exist because of the intensity of the vibration of the vocal cords. So, see, when the vocal cords vibrate, they produce sound energy that radiates through the air that's in the vocal tract. So that's why it's so important that we're open, so that we have air and we don't cut off those sound waves by having constriction or anything like that. Also, then when those sound waves reverberate through the air, they're also reflecting off the inner skin of the vocal tract. This causes reflections. Also, the big parts of the vocal tract are also behind that skin is bone, and so that bone is hard and just a lot like the wood of an acoustic guitar, the wood of violins and stringed instruments, the sounding board of a piano. These things reflect sound as well, and not only do they reflect sound, they have a little bit of vibration themselves. Sometimes you can touch something that is connected to, you can touch a part of a musical instrument and you can feel the vibrations. And this is part of what we sense is the vibrations in the bones of the skull also. Sometimes people feel it in the teeth and the sensation of the nasal passages and also the sinuses, because these are pockets of air. So the vibration, if it's intense enough, can be felt throughout the head. And the big thing is that the point of being on the lips, there's an acoustic principle that when the vocal tract is aligned, there is, and the vibration is intense enough, the sensation, and also this is audible too, but the sensation of the sound reaches the end of the vocal tract. There's been research in like tubes and such. I don't remember it. I remember seeing a lecture where it was discussed and everything. And frankly, it's not really that important. The actual research and the technical stuff about it is not as important as just understanding that there is something there. And we can feel when the vocal tract is aligned and in balance with the vibration, with the vocalization. So that's what makes it seem like we're on the lips. Another way of thinking about this is the forward placement that people tend to talk about. And what's really tricky is that forward placement is an aspect of a good, well-produced voice. But the problem is that very often people strive to accomplish the result without actually doing the cause that makes it happen. The forwardness, the mask, being in the head, all of these different little things that we can observe, these conditions, are all a result of a well-balanced, maximized vocalization. And if we just go by somebody saying that these conditions should exist and then just going directly to that, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up accomplishing it through constriction. Something like that. Or that's one example. There's probably a lot of examples that we could come up with. But what we hear in like a kind of an exaggerated Broadway sound is an example of accomplishing this forward placement not through a well-coordinated, maximized production, but by just trying to make that result. So the lesson we want to learn is that these things exist as kind of confirmation that what we're doing is right. They're not a goal. They're not something, I mean, in the sense that they're not the primary thing we're trying to do. We just want to realize that that is something that we will notice as confirmation when we do things right. And everything else that, everything that I'm teaching in my other videos, in my classes, on my website, in my private groups, these are things that are the answer to how do we accomplish that. So come check out my other stuff and see, how to do it, because we don't accomplish it by just trying to accomplish it. Another thing to realize that it's all about balance. So the feeling of experiencing the sensation of the tone, the resulting tone, all the way to the front of the mouth is a sign of balance. And so when we start to feel that, we can use that to keep ourselves balanced. When we're vocalizing, if we vocalize and we and we feel like the tone is dull and back, that means we're not getting a fully activated vibration, and so the resonance is dull. If we're kind of spread and really forward, then that's a sign that the vocalization itself, the action of the larynx, is not stable and secure, and so it's getting pushed up, and as a result the sound sort of has the impression of being pushed forward. As the larynx goes up, the sound tends to go forward in a not good way. And so a lot of times what people will do is that then they'll start yawning and opening the throat to try to remedy that. But then now you hear the sound is kind of stuck in the throat. We want to have a balance between the front and the back of the mouth, for instance, just like we want to have a balance between the resonance and the vocalization. So finding a good balance of not being too dark, not being too bright, spreading or covering, and having a good vibration, like I'm always talking about, so that it's not Without a good vibration, we can't create the acoustic results that we want. So really, without the good vibration of the vocal cords inside the larynx, we can't accomplish being in the head, being in the front of the mouth, being in the mask, being all through the whole resonator. So that has to be what we figure out first. That's a product of good breathing coordination so that we don't collapse and exhale through the vibration. And also being able to pronounce, speak, and then there, I can feel, not even a feeling, but I sense that the sound waves are reaching all the way to the front of the mouth, rather than being stuck in the back. So that's the lesson, and it's just really kind of to wake ourselves up to this possibility and kind of say, this is the direction we want to be heading. Now, like I said, there's a lot of ways to do things wrong, and most of them are the result of not having a good vocalization of the voice, meaning the larynx, the voice box. The vibration comes from there. So we need to always do kind of this duality, this partnership of the vocalization and the resulting resonance. Lamperti called this the blossoming, like a flower. This is the blossoming of the seed. So like you plant the seed and then the flower grows and blossoms. Our tone blossoms in an instant. The seed is the vibration of the vocal cords. And then the blossoming is the acoustic result that happens through the vocal tract. We really need to be aware of having both, so that as we change pitch, the conditions changed. The resonance went duller. That's a sign that the vibration weakened and didn't stay secure. Ah, there the larynx didn't stay secure, so it went up. Ah, so feeling like the result stays complete, the vocalization and the vibration of the vocal cord stays complete, and we can feel, even as we change pitch, as we change vowel, that we can accomplish that. Okay, so I hope that's helpful, and come check out other information at VocalWisdom.com, YouTube, at the website, and I look forward to hearing from you with any questions or comments. All right, we'll talk again soon. Thanks.